in an onion. First, you think you manage it, and then you end up crying in the kitchen. Have you ever been in this situation before? You think that you can do all the translation job, interpretation job easily because you're a student majoring in English linguistics. And has it ever happened to you that this is not something that really you can manage? Alright? And you know that some of my students ask me like, teacher, I don't know if the job of an interpreter or a translator gonna be a potential job anymore. Will we have jobs in the future, especially due to the advance of AI? And when I prepare for our workshop, I read the company profile of DQ. And one of the sentences that really amazed me again, this is AI is widely told to be a potential replacement of human translators and interpreters. And DQ is here to prove the otherwise. And you know that I am just a leader of something. I'm a leader of translator. I'm a leader of interpreter. I'm a lecturer full time. So sometimes I cannot give you the answer as you want. So that's the reason today our School of Languages organized a workshop so that you have the opportunity to meet the people in the field, the professional, the one who really do the job, and you're gonna come here and receive a lot of insights, feedback, and you can have your question answered today. And that's the reason we have our workshop today, everyone. And today we are honored to welcome two speakers. First of all, let me introduce Ms. Trần Ngọc Diễm Quỳnh. And she holds a BA in English Study from Banking University. She has extensive experience across various sectors, having official employment at 2 construction projects and served for a decade on the board of a public listed company. And with 15 years as a freelance translator and interpreter, Ms. Quỳnh has sharpened her linguistics expertise in numerous industries. And this leads to her set up her own company in the translation field, demonstrating her entrepreneurial spirit and the dedication to the language services. Can I introduce Ms. Diễm Quỳnh? And our second speaker today, a very familiar face to many students in our School of Languages, Ms. Lê Võ Yani. And she's an alumnus of our program of School of Languages, and she has been working as a freelance interpreter since 2022, starting with jobs and international exhibition, B2B meetings. And over the years, she provided interpretation service at business workshops, internal trainings, and conferences. She also a subtitle technician at Sky Film Lab, creating Vietnamese English subtitles for movies, competing at the first Ho Chi Minh City International Film Festival. In 2023, she also worked as a translator intern at IU Office of External and Public Relations. Please welcome Ms. Yani. And I hope that the two speakers today gonna have a great time with our students too, who are very curious and who are very eager to come here to ask questions and to listen to you. But hold your eagerness for a little bit, because right now I would like to invite to the stage Dr. Nguyễn Thị Quyên, Research Associate of the School of Languages, gonna come here to deliver the opening speech.
Thank you, Ms. Ngọc Châu, for a very fancy, fantastic introduction. Okay. So good morning to our delegates, respected guest speakers, and good morning, no, it's not good morning, sorry, good afternoon, all the students who are involved in the internship course 1, as well as students who are interested in translation, right? So it's really my great pleasure to be welcoming you all to this very exciting workshop, the first one that is held for internship students this year, from translation to transformation, career path, and startup strategy. So even if you're here as part of the internship course, or whether you are student interested in translating, right, I believe that this is a very good chance for you. And I hope that you are going to gain a lot of insight into, the measure of translation. And then I hope that you can have a lot of discovery through our interesting talks and sharing experience from the two guest speakers here. So, sorry, I still need to look at my notes here in order to do some kind of like welcoming speech. Okay, so Ms. Quinn, as you already know, she comes from industry, and then Ms. Yang Yi, who has just fresh out of college, and then I believe, and she also has a lot of like freelance experience working while being a student, and I believe that these insights from our guest speakers are going to offer you guys a lot of opportunities for creativity, for transformation. Like maybe you will graduate with some experience, with some knowledge and preparation for starting your own career in translation and also interpretation. Okay, thank you. So I hope that you can be actively engaged by asking questions, by being curious about, stand up and then ask our guest speakers here with, whatever you want to explore from those who are experienced. And as you know, that we need to write a report on today's internship. So make sure that you diligently, take notes of what they're speaking. Okay. So I think that's all on my part. I'd like to give the stage to Ms.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Quinn. A big hand for her. All right, and our workshop today is also honored to welcome Ms. Đỗ Hoàng Nga, a lecturer of our School of Languages. Please give her a welcome. All right, everyone, so I think that we are all ready right now. It's time for us to immerse ourselves in the world of real life knowledge and experience. And now I would like to invite Ms. Trần Ngọc Diệp Quỳnh and Ms. Lê Võ Gia Ni to the stage for the panel discussion. And everyone, I have something to share. Like there's something not right with me today, so please forgive if I have a very awkward posture or sitting position. Yeah, okay, something not very right with me today, and I hope that you will understand. Okay, so now first of all, everyone, let me just give you an overview of the three main topics that we're going to focus in our discussion today. So first of all, we're going to have the topic about opportunities for fresh graduates. Then we'll talk about the role of AI and technology in this industry. And finally, we focus on some important professional practices. So these are the three main topics that we're going to focus today. But first of all, I think that I have already introduced about the speakers, but I would love to invite them to say the greetings and the welcome to all of you today. And first, can I invite Ms. Quinn?
Hi, good afternoon. So thank you so much for having me here today. And to be honest, this is my very first time being in front of a crowd like this, because usually I will be behind you all, being an interpreter, or sometimes I will be an MC on the stage, but behind that podium. And now I'm in front of you without anything guarding me, so I'm a little bit nervous. And I've been a translator and interpreter since my second year at the university, thanks to some opportunities that I'm going to share later. And I hope that whatever I share today would be beneficial for you all in the way forward.
Can I invite Yemi?
Evening, everyone. Evening? No, sorry, afternoon. I'm very, very nervous. So looking at you just reminded me of the time when I was just like you guys, sophomore, junior, maybe a little bit of seniors. Because the introduction pretty much tell you everything you need to know about me, so I hope that the sharings that I prepared today to you will assist you in some way and help you visualize what's going to be ahead of you for the next few years or after you have graduated.
Okay, thank you so much, Yanni. And you know that today we're gonna listen from the two different points of view, you know, because first we're gonna listen from Miss Yip Gun, and Miss Yip Gun right now, she's the founder and also the director of DQ, a company providing translation and interpretation services. And we're gonna listen to another point of view from Yanni, a freelance interpreter. And what a coincidence, because you know, we invited the speakers right, at different times. However, they have worked with each other before. So it's a very coincidence, right? So now I will start with the first topic of our talk today. And this is about the opportunity for freshmen. And the first question will be to Ms. Gun. Okay, Ms. Gun, can you share about the job opportunities that are available for fresh graduates in our field? And as you mentioned in your introduction, you started the interpretation jobs in the second year of university. So where did you find these openings? And right now, you can give any suggestion, recommendation for students to the place that they should go to in order to seek for the information about these openings.
All right, got it. I'm going to open my notes. You know, I'm eager to be here today because I always enjoy telling my own story. So, all right, so for the first topic, fresh graduates. Well, when I was still at the university, I was also an English student in banking university. And at that time, well, it was really a long story back at that time because at that time, banking industry was booming. So we chose banking because we thought that there would be a lot of opportunities. And in the eyes of parents at that time, banking and bankers would be something extremely high in the society. And also I had English so-called talent back in my childhood. So I chose English 30 in banking university at the time because it was told that we were going to give to receive the dual degrees, something like that. But after that, in my second year of the university, the law was changed, and we would just be given the English major degree, a BA in English. So I started thinking about something else because only with English, I could not make sure that I will have a slot at the bank. So at that time, I tried to find more opportunities from other courses. Then I found the interpretation course. It was a short course at the Vietnam News Agency. I think they are still operating now. And with that course, I met my mentors. And I guess if you search, you'll find him. He's a Ken Wing from AKT company. So he's still a translation agency working right now. Then I studied there for like 2 months. It was a short course. Then he recognized my talents. Then he took me to jobs with him. And then gradually I built my career since then. And also I had some kind of friends or sister brothers that worked in various fields. And once they know that you are good at English, they will ask you to do some favors at certain time. And then I started working on website translation, document translation. Then I started the translator and interpreter job like at the same time. So that was my story. You could do just the same, but now it will be easier for you all because there will be a lot of agencies, and at my time, it was only the Vietnam News Agency, but now we have a lot more agencies like that. Like, you know, on the market, you will find Dân Thiện Mỹ, or you will find in the north, we have Sao Kue, we have many other agencies that are providing their interpretation skill course. I do the same, but my product is not launched yet, so I hope it will be somewhere next year. And with those courses, they will realize that you have the talents at certain sector or certain topic. Then they will send you to jobs, and then you can start working as interpreters or translators for those agencies after joining their courses. And also, because we are English learners, it will be a vast more like opportunities than other sectors, I have to say. Because with English, we can learn any other skill, and we can even learn in both Vietnamese and English. But for those that are graduated from other sectors, they have their own skill sets, but English may not be their strength. And learning English is not something easy, but we learn the skill, it takes less time. So we are open to so many opportunities on the market. You can do whatever, just choose what you like. Then it will be no pressure at all.
Oh, wow. And you know that according to what I can observe in the market, like if you're a fresh graduate and then you maybe like a student doing internship, like the company usually assigns you with more of translation job than interpretation job. And is it the real thing in the field?
Yeah, it's true, because I don't know why, but it seems that all of the English learners will start with translation first, because interpretation is still something hard to find on the market. And of course, as I said, I started with some kind of network and relationship. Otherwise, it was not easy at all to find the very first interpretation job. So it would start with translation first, and then it is really hard to say, because it depends a lot on your luck to find the very first interpretation task.
So is it the same thing that happened to you, Nghi? Like when you apply for an internship or when you apply for interpretation job when you graduated?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same thing. I've actually done 2 internships, but only one is here at the university. I've done 2 internships, and most of the job I was assigned was mostly with translation and little to no work in interpretation, probably because they don't trust someone who with little or no experience with carrying stuff like interpreting, I guess, yeah.
Okay, so Nghi, can you talk about the time that you started applying for internship? So as a student, right, we have 4 years internship 1 and internship 2. So when should students start applying or looking for a place in order to apply for a position?
I would say anytime you feel confident in yourself that you can do the job, then you would just go and find an internship for yourself. Because personally, I was not very confident in myself, so I only waited until like the start of my 3rd years here in university and start working at my first internship. Oh, now we're talking about, I remember I met Miss Wen at my first internship at South Korea. Yeah, I was a teaching assistant for a translation interpreting course there. That's where we met for the first time. Actually, I think with the growing in demand for translation, interpreting, and also there's more and more translation and interpreting agency out there. There are also more opportunities for you. So you can just start now, or you can wait until internship 2, which is a perfect time, because then you will have the knowledge and the skill, and most importantly, the confidence to do the work. So For my second internship, I work at the IU Office of External Relations, and the jobs there it was entirely just translation. And I think that the time I worked there really provided me with plenty of knowledge and work ethics and all the kind of thing. And if I would have to give you one advice, working as an intern, like anywhere at all, I think no, maybe two. The first one is that you should try your best to be open and to be social, because don't think of it just like an internship. Think of it as a place for you to build your network as well, because probably that's the only chance for you to meet these industry professionals or that kind of thing. And second of all is that I think you should embrace your mistake. Do not scared of making mistake. Like for example, when I work at the office, I was assigned this translation, and I just look it up this word. Just to give you a context, like the word tổng giám đốc, there's not just one translation of that, right? They could be CEO, they could be director, etc., depending on where they're from. So in cases like that, sometimes mistakes are unavoidable, and in cases like that, most of the time your mentor will point it out for you, and that is a great way for you to learn from your mistake. So yeah, I say when you are confident enough with your skill, with your knowledge, you should go for it.
Yeah, and Yangi's answer reminded me of a KOL saying on the internet. And this KOL said that don't wait until you are confident enough to do something, but do something until you are confident about it. So, like we receive a lot of questions from you, like, okay, so how can we apply for an internship so that we can work as an interpreter, as a translator? But I think that the first question that you have to ask for yourself is that, have you done anything day by day in order to build up your confidence so that you can build confidence when you apply for a position, right? And so this is the first thing that we talk to each other about, like how we're gonna find the place in order to apply for an internship, and as a student, or we apply for a job as a fresh graduate, right? From our networking, from whom we know, from the agency, from the companies that provided the training section, training courses in order to help you to build up your skill. And also, so like after the first question about like where we can find the job, the second thing is that some people consider about like having a full-time job, working as an interpreter or a translator, while others gonna prefer to have a freelance position. So Ms. Quinn, the next question is for you. In your opinion, what gonna be the pros and cons of working as a freelance and compared to working as a full-time interpreter or translator?
Before proceeding to the second question, I just want to touch back a little bit on the first one because I wrote a lot here and I forgot to just list them. So besides the training centers that I mentioned earlier, it was a good source of jobs. Then you could also, these days we have a lot of recruitment platforms, so you could create your LinkedIn account or some kind of like a lot of freelancer forums where you can create your profile and some kind of quotation there, and somehow the recruiters would contact you for certain jobs that matches your qualification. We could also find the NGO pages. These days we have a lot of so-called RSIs. We do remote interpretation jobs for international agencies, and we can work worldwide sitting at home. So you need to search for those opportunities from especially NGOs. I work a lot for the NGOs. Then we can also have one short reminder that whenever you want to have an internship, don't wait or don't just search for internship opportunities. You create that by approaching the companies, the employers that you want to apply for an internship, because for us, translation companies, sometimes we never think that we need interns because we have those who can work for us, and we call them collaborators. We don't have contractors. So we never think that we need interns. But like just last year, I received some questions from some very little young people just like you, freshmen, and then they ask, do your company take interns or not? Then I say, actually I have no office. I have no place for you guys to sit and work every day, but I do receive interns, and the way I share my knowledge with you during interns would be totally online. So I like meet with you weekly, I assign tasks, and then we have like office hours to go through all the common mistakes, and I give you reminders or comments on what you do, and then I share about the office, although we have no office. But I've been working at a lot of offices that I know what to prepare you when you become officer. So it doesn't have to be an office where you go and work there and take your internship, but you can just approach any employer that you think you may suit the environments and offer them the opportunity to have you in their team. Right. Oh, and then I forgot my second question. And the second one would be the full-timer and freelancer. So I have to admit one thing after a long career till now, that we cannot just purely rely on language-based jobs to earn the living. I'm not sure this is true to other people, but for me, I've been on dual mode for since my graduation. So I was not just a translator or an interpreter, but I started working for companies, industrial companies as a secretary, and then as you saw in the intro, I worked for 2 construction projects, and I was at office admin or project translator and secretary. So we had the chance to do many other things than just translation. Then you got to know what people do at an office, what they do at a certain function of a company, and that builds a lot of confidence and knowledge for you. But for translation, you purely know what you are working on. Then it is not a good gain for your future career. And also, I think it was the right thing when we started working with both jobs at the same time. And at that time, translator and interpreter was just my part-time job. My full-time job was still officer. And gradually I switched, and now I've been a full-time interpreter and still part-time translator. I don't have much time for the written things, but I think that has been a good journey, because especially now when you see technologies are coming and it threatens us and our job. So if you just put all your eggs into one basket of translation and interpretation, and especially when you are very new, you are not knowledgeable enough, you're not experienced enough, then you cannot compete yet. And especially for human, you cannot compete with those who are have been working before you, and also now we have to compete with technology. So have 2 or even 3 jobs at the same time would be even better for you. Don't be a freelancer instantly, especially at this very sensitive moment.
Yangi, I can see that you pretty agree with what has been shared by Ms. Quinn. You want to say something?
Yeah, like it kind of feels like a bit personal, because like now I'm working at a freelancers and I'm kind of new. So yes, you're basically talking about me at this point. Yes, and I must admit, it's not gonna be easy for you to just get out of college and working at a freelancer immediately, because first of all, even if you believe in yourself, believe in your skill, your knowledge, all the kind of thing, haven't you convinced others of your skill and knowledge, right? So that think is why you need those internships and maybe consider working as a in-house translator first before going on freelancing. Yeah.
It's pretty wonderful. Thank you for your sharing. And it reminds me of one thing that I usually share with my students. Maybe some of you heard this about before. Because when some of you look for the opportunity to do the internship, you just think about translation or interpretation company. And they say that it doesn't have to be like that all the time. Because there are going to be some companies out there on different fields, but they require English. And when you do the internship in a certain department of these companies, you can also accumulate the language, the knowledge, not only language. Language is not everything. We also need the knowledge related to certain field and make this field your strength, your expertise in order to do the interpretation and translation job in the future. So this is wonderful, and I think that we share the same opinion on this idea. And now, Miss Yanni, what professional qualities and skills do you think companies look for in new translators and interpreters?
So I think these skills are very, and attitudes are important to all those who are new in all industry, not just as translator or interpreter. The first one is probably everyone have been talking about is the can-do attitude. Can-do here doesn't mean that even if you're working as a translator and someone tell you to do something completely different or opposite to your profession, you still do it. No, that's not a can-do attitude. A can-do attitude here, in my point of view, is that you are willing to give it all. You are willing to dedicate to the work that are assigned to you. Like when you do a translation, you don't just do a job. There's have to be a lot of researching and a lot of you're gonna dedicate a lot to the work, and that I think is something all employers really treasure and really look for in their employees. The second one is that I think because you are lacking in experience, you should have a good base of knowledge, okay? So, yes, which I completely agree with you. Knowledge here isn't just limited to your language knowledge, not you to speak the language really good. But think about other things, how you do the work ethics, how you connect to people around you, and that I think is very important to all the fresh graduates.
So how about you, Ms. Quinn? What do you expect the fresh graduate, the new translator or interpreter to possess when start working at your company?
Well, I am a translator and interpreter myself, so I ask for a lot. Because I have been leading teams, I have got a lot of projects, and the point is, you need to be very precise, you need to have the teamwork manner, and you need to have the ethics. Well, ethics seems to be very unfamiliar in, I would say, in Vietnam context, because people think that it's just you and the piece of paper in front of you, and what kind of ethic is that? But you are not working alone. You are with a team, and if you work for me, you are representing the company. You are the cure. So don't become the killer, okay? You have to bring jobs for me, don't kill all the jobs. And the point is, we work in a team, and the quality level should be the one that we all fight for. Because a lot of you think that I just finish my work and submit to my reviewers and that's it, I'm done, I received the salary. But for this one, I need to get you back a little bit to the previous question again. I keep jumping back and forth. But you need to prepare yourself when you join the industry, when you become a worker. Firstly, you need to have the legal knowledge. You need to know what you can get from a company and what they must give you. Firstly, for the CNBs, for the legal things, like they need to sign a contract with you, they need to ensure your working hours, they need to make sure that you are paid this certain amount, and also there will be some other things like insurances. If you work as a freelancer, these would be very inconvenient for you, especially when you are so young right now. So that's why I never recommend you being translators from very early age. So let's just work for a company, get them cover all of your insurances, your welfare, your benefits, and everything, and make sure that they are complying with the laws. Make sure that they are paying you on time. But you need to also know about the market. You can just jump in and say, I graduate with this very high GPA, you have to pay me this much. No one's gonna do that for you. You need to know the market price. There will be a lot of levels. And let's say for, particularly for translation, you are taught here well that there will be a process, there will be certain stages, and we have translator, we have reviewers, we have proofreader. Each of them is given a certain part of the wallets of the clients, and you can just never claim all for you. So you need to know your contribution deserves how much, and then you have to prove to them that you are deserving that much, because these days we don't just have one piece of paper and then get paid for that, but we have big projects, and in that we need consistency. Consistency is everything. You cannot just on one page and J, and on the other page go and do, and that rules everything, just one single word. And for interpretation, it was just the same thing. We don't regularly work solo. We will work in pairs or in a team, and we have to stay very mindful of what the teammates is saying. It just the previous speaker say that for today workshop, and then when it is your turn, you will say today's seminar. Then it's not consistent. So be very careful with the quality. Know you. You have to know you very well first, and then you know what you should ask for. And I think that's the attitude, just the attitude and the ethics that we want the most from whoever working in the field, not just a newbie.
That really makes sense for me and for everyone here, I think, because like sometimes this is the first job. You think that, oh, you get that much money for this project, so how can I get so little? You know, you're not working alone. There's the whole system. There's a whole team. We all work together, and we all contribute to the whole project together. So, and also don't just try to do the job for just someone, can be anyone, but go with the agency, go with the company that gonna represent you. They're gonna fight for you if there's anything happen, like people ask you to do something that they didn't tell you in advance, right? And me, I remember you have a story about this and you really want to share.
Can you story about
the story about like when you just accept to do the job with someone and then they constantly add something for you to do. So it seems that the responsibility and your legal was not really protected in this case, right? You want to talk about this a little bit?
Yes, that is one of the biggest disadvantages of working as a freelancer, is that most of the time you are not protected. Most of the time you gotta protect yourself. Like Michelle just said, I've been talking to her, sharing all kinds of stories, so you kind of know. So I'm of course not gonna spill out a company's name here, that is unethical. But basically I was hired to be a remote interpreter, and that's it, a remote interpreter. But the night before the event, they just suddenly DM me saying, actually we don't have an MC, so maybe you will have to MC as well. A bilingual MC, and do the interpreting when the main speaker showed up. I was so shocked. And also I think I could have handled it much better now thinking about it, but I just had to go with it because I was new. I like all the legal thing that yeah, I could have handled that much better. But now that you are here, you are new and ready to go, you should know your worth. First of all, you gotta know your worth. Next of all, you gotta know your rights. And the last thing, also very important, you gotta create a healthy boundary with your customer, right? You may develop some sort of bond with them along the way you work, but remember, you are working at customer, as clients, and the one who provided the services. So yeah, be very careful of what they ask for and what you can provide. So yeah, most of the time is like that.
Wow, a lot of useful advice for our students as well as for fresh graduates in the future, fresh graduates to be. And now why don't we just move on to the second topic, because as Ms. Gwen mentioned in her answer, nowadays, all right, young translator and interpreters not only have to prove themselves so that they can get a job, but one of the things that they have to do is that they also sometimes have to compete with AI, with technology. So let's move on to the second part of our discussion today about cartoons and AI. All right, so the first question, can I ask Ms. Quinn? How do you see AI or technology impacting the translation and interpretation industry?
Significantly. Yeah, because because people start talking about AI like something magical, and with AI, what do I need translators? With AI, how could I pay money for interpreters anymore? And there would be a lot of AI powered or AI based apps, like a lot of mobile apps that people are using to travel around the world, and they just claim that with this I can understand everybody. I don't need interpreters at all. So it's hard for us as linguists, because we need to prove to them that they are saying the wrong thing. But to some certain extent, AI is really working. It can really convey the messages in the right way. Sometimes it doesn't, but it is not very technical or not very professional situation, then it works well, much better than us. They could find the right words than us, but I think it would never replace us as humans, because as I wrote in my company profile, I met a lot of customers, and after a while experiencing AI tools and everything, they said that we still need human, because you need to. I'm not sure if you know the incidents, but we had some kind of TV show that they use virtual MC, and that virtual MC just stopped working in the middle, and they could not find any replacement, and the show was ruined. So technology does bring problems also, and remember and build your confidence from this, because AI is something we create. It doesn't have the brain, it doesn't think, it doesn't have the emotions, and it doesn't have EQ. You have to remember this word, EQ. It is something privileged to human, because with that we can understand the nuances, we can understand the unspoken things in what they are saying, and with that we can deliver the job. But AI could not do that. AI learned from us, but it needs like billions and trillions pieces of data to be able to be like today, and it needs a lot of time and data to be better than it is today. But we are growing, we are absorbing new things every day. So but the point is, you have to absorb new things every day. We can just stand and say that, okay, AI is growing very well, I have it here, and this happens to me and my team too, and I have to yell every day, I have to say this, because there are translators that just take the job, throw it in Google or any AI tool like Claude or Gemini, and it proceeds the translation for them, and then they will just correct some mistakes and some words that they think they need to do it, and then submit and get money. Those will be replaced first. because Google could do that, then why do I need to pay for you to do just the same? So whoever saying that doing translation is easy because I have AI as a translator, you will be replaced first.
So, you know that as Ms. Quinn mentioned, the thing is not like, is there any jobs out there for me to do? But the thing is that if you have enough ability, skills, and knowledge in order to undertake this job, and if like you keep being afraid of AI and then not honing your skill, then that's gonna be a disaster, right? But you know, like Ms. Quinn, AI is finally still a tool. So how about using this tool in translation and interpretation field? What are some real life application of AI or technology in our jobs? Can you just share with everyone?
You know, I myself and also my partners are now using them. These technologies, they are very convenient for us also. So for translation, let's say AI would just help in certain circumstances, but for translation, we already have dedicated cat tools. So later you will hear a lot more from me because she was more on translation. It ensures the consistency is better than AI. But for a shorter task, then I could just use AI with prompts. And the key thing here is you need to have very smart prompts that can help you get the best answer from AI. Let's say for me, if I do a medical task, I would just say that translate this from English to Vietnamese for me in medical context, and to be more particular in like cardiovascular, and the audience would be, or the reader would be, just feed in all of the necessary details so that it works the best way for you. And for interpretation also, let's say we cannot know everything. So when we go to the booth, we would just turn on, and these days we use Gen AI, and we would just put a prompt that acts as my interpretation assistant. Give me the short meaning of the words I key in medical context or whatever context, and the audience would be whoever. And then whatever you key in, it will just give you a very short meaning that you can leverage instantly in your work. Because for interpretation, it will need more urgency than translation. And for translation, it helps you also not just in finding you the meanings, but also giving you the reference and information that you need faster than before. Because in the past, when we did not have it, we had to go to Google and find a word, and we usually say student meaning in certain context, or professor meaning in certain context. But now, and then Google will just give you a list of so many meanings, and you still need to have the skill to shortlist the answer. But with AI, it could give you that specific term instantly. And it is very convenient, but it still asks for your knowledge and your, let's say, understanding to recognize that this word is the right or the wrong term. Because if you just think that, okay, this translation is already very good, then I just use it, and you could not tell that there are mistakes hidden in it because you lack that piece of knowledge. So AI grows, you have to grow also by sharpening your language skills, your vocabulary, and your background knowledge, I have to say. Your background knowledge every day.
Okay, yes, so now let's talk about cat tones. And Nghi, can you share with everyone about your experience of using cat tones for this job? So, cat tone, anyone know what cat tone stands for? Anything to do with the animal? You should know, everyone. If you have been in my class, you should know. All right, don't say meow meow right now, okay?
Yeah. All right. Anyone? Anyone at all? Yeah, please.
Yeah, I believe it is computer assisted translation.
Yes, very good. Very good. Very good.
Computer
So yeah,
assistant.
from the name you can guess what it's do,
Computer
right? It's computer
assistant.
assistant. So I still remember when I was in the intro in translation class. Lecture by Miss Yao. When in one class when she introduced the cat tools, some of my friends told me, of course secretly, what these cat tools don't do the translation for you? I thought that's the whole point. You introduce cat tools so that they can do the work for me. No, unfortunately, fortunately, these cat tools did not do the work for you. They only assisted you in doing translation. You can see these assistants in ways that they can have a really almost unlimited term base. Where they store thousands of millions of terms that probably you will forget one time from another. And especially like this one said, more often than not, you will have to work on a project. And this project could be 1,000, hundreds of pages long. And let's say you have translated a word on page 1, and now you gotta move to page 900, seeing it again for the second time. Yeah, probably you're not gonna remember it. And this is the best time for a cat tool to kick in. They already remember it for you. You only need to type, and there you go. But again, you gotta reconsider the context and everything to use it precisely. Nowadays, many cat tools also embedded machine translation in them as well. But honestly, I don't really recommend using it except for very informative text. AI is doing a great work with informative text nowadays, and some even rather metaphorical words as well. Raining cats and dog is can understand that now. You cannot use that as an excuse anymore. Machine translation is a great tool, but you gotta consider what you are using it for, in what context, and is it gonna benefit you or is it gonna make things worse? Because the one thing with machine translation, there have been a study that proves this, is when it gives you a certain translation, you will be, you have the tendency to follow the pattern that it's created. Although this pattern is extremely unnatural, but once it's given to you, it's fed into your brain, you just have to follow it, and you cannot escape it. And you know what, it's going to lead to a very unnatural translation. So I say cat tools are very useful, but you gotta use it wisely. Talking about some cat tools that you can consider adopting right now as a student, because most of the ones that I'm working with are quite easy. I gotta say, I'm not a tech geek at all, but I can use it. First of all, they are both online and offline now. So for online, you can use SmartCat. It's great. You can work online. You have it already have a cloud. You don't